I shall not see the sun bloody knife. Mutters to Custer, his voice trembling with dread. The native scout's warning falls on deaf ears. As Custer smirks, the 7th can lick anything. Days later, he'd lead hundreds to their doom. How did one man's arrogance ignite a massacre? Subscribe to Native Legends and History Stories to find out what really happened. June 24, 1876. George Armstrong Custer rides at the head of his 7th Cavalry, pushing 660 men through the Rosebud Valley's rugged trails. They've marched 28 miles today, a brutal slog under a blazing sun. Horses stumble their hooves, kicking up dry earth. Mules in the pack train balk, dropping gear as they lag behind. Custer's in a hurry, barking orders to keep moving. He's got 30 officers, 45 scouts and over 500 enlisted men, some so green they've never fired a carbine. He's banking on a quick win, a headline-grabbing triumph to reach Philadelphia by July 4th for the centennial celebration. The Democratic Convention starts in 3 days. Too tight to make it, but if he strikes fast, victory news could travel east. Paying off debts with lecture fees and cementing his name as a national hero, he adjusts his buckskin jacket, red cravat flashing, and scans the horizon, undeterred by the exhaustion etching his men's faces. Across the Little Bighorn, a massive village hums with life. 7,000 to 8,000 Lakota and Cheyenne, including 18 to 2,000 warriors, sprawl across the west bank of the greasy grass. As they call it, teepees, dot the plain in tight semicircles. Nearly 1,000 strong, a sight so striking that historian Nathaniel later calls it one of the most hauntingly beautiful valleys in the world. This isn't just a camp. It's a fortress born of necessity. President Grant's administration has banned guns on reservations, crippling their buffalo hunts. His failed bid to buy the Black Hills sacred ground, the Lakota, refused to surrender, pushed tensions to a breaking point. Reservation populations swelled over winter. Food ran thin now. Bolstered by crazy horses, June 17th, victory over General Crook at Rosebud, warriors and families flock here. Wooden Leg, a young Cheyenne who'd later recount this in 1903, remembers chasing girls and playing games, a carefree buzz fueled by their sheer numbers. Too many, they think, for any soldier to dare attack. Evening settles, and Sitting Bull slips away from the celebration. He climbs a knoll, the sun dipping low, and lays out a buffalo robe, a pipe and tobacco for Wakataka. Look after us, keep calamity away, he murmurs, his voice steady despite the ache in his arms, still raw from a recent Sundance, where he'd offered flesh for visions. One came weeks ago. Soldiers falling upside down into camp, a sign of triumph or warning. Back at Custer's camp, Bloody Knife sharpens his blade by a flickering fire, his Arikara accent thick to many out there. General, I won't see the sun again. Custer, lounging in his straw hat, bought off the Yellowstone, laughs it off. Bloody Knife, you're too grim. We'll cut through them like butter. Nearby enlisted men, some in white shirts, others in straw hats, like Major, croak out the doxology hymns to steady nerves. While Custer stares into the dark, mind racing not on defeat, but on headlines at 9 p.m. Crow scouts gallop in breathless. We found it, the main Lakota Trail. Heading west to the Little Bighorn, Custer's up in 20 minutes, decisive. Varnum, take the scouts to the Crow's Nest lookout. We'll follow, move out. Lieutenant Varnum nods, leading his team off, as Custer rallies the column for a night march. His plan: 12 miles. A coffee break, 5 more. Then another 12 to reach the river by dawn on the 25th. Rest all day, strike at first light on the 26th. Just like Washita in 68, it worked then. He's sure it'll work now, the men groan, but obey, trudging through darkness. Coffee gulped at halts, barely keeping them upright. Trails crisscross the valley, proof of the swelling village, But Custer sees only opportunity. Dawn breaks on the 25th and they halt, spent just shy of the Little Bighorn. Varnum sends word, the Crows spotted a massive village. From the nest, Custer rides ahead alone. Squinting from the bluff at 9 a.m., he sees nothing. Bluffs block the view, but Mitch Beyer, a seasoned scout, rides up fast. General, more Indians down there than you've ever faced. Hang me if I'm wrong, Custer snaps. Hanging, you do us no good now. Ooh yay, Bloody Knife joins in grim enough. Sue to fight us 3 days. Custer chuckles, we'll finish them in 1. He's not worried about losing, just that they'll scatter before he can claim the win. Then his brother Tom rushes in. A mule dropped its hardtack. Cheyenne grabbed it and ran. Custer's face hardens, they know we're here. No rest, we hit them now. The men, dead on their feet, grab rifles as he pivots from stealth to speed. Midday looms and Custer splits his force near the creek. Reno, 175 men, with me. To the river Benteen, 115 left to scout. Block their escape, he orders. Voice clipped to Crow Scout. Face painted grabs his arm. Too many down there, don't divide us. Custer yanks free, you scout. I fight, he leaves 130. With the pack train already trailing miles back. At 11:45 they roll out. Reno and Custer down the creek bent. Veering west later, that Crow Scout mutters to him. We're going home today by a strange trail. This isn't chance, it's collision. Grant's gun ban and Black Hill's scheme starved the Lakota into defiance. Custer's rush turned a trap into a trigger. Could he have waited, shadowed them to Terry? Maybe, but that's not Custer. He saw 2,000 warriors as a prize, not a threat. History proves numbers don't bow to bravado. Disaster's brewing, and it's close. It's 11:45 on June 25th. And the 7th Cavalry fractures into motion. 3 jagged prongs slicing toward the Little Bighorn, 12 to 15 miles from the village's edge. Reno's 175-pound down the creek's left bank, horses snorting steam hooves, slamming wet gravel. Major Reno sways in the saddle, straw hat askew, whiskey flask glinting as he grips the reins. Bentank's 115 angle southwest. Boots, scraping sagebrush, carbines clanking as they weave through gullies. Captain Bentini squints into the sun, cursing under his breath at the rough terrain. Custer's 200,220 ascend the bluffs rightward, spurs biting flanks, dust curling off the ridge. His red cravat flaps buckskin jacket taut as he scans the horizon a mile back. 130 wrestle the pack train. Mules balk, rope snap. Ammo crates thud to the ground. Captain McDougal yells, "Move! Damn you, Custer's weaving a trap!" Reno strikes the village's heart. Bentini seals the southwest flank. He hammers from above, no warrior slips the noose. Orders land loose and lean. Reno's clipped command echoes as they part. Charge and hit him hard. No word on when or if Custer follows. Bentini gets a brisk scout left, sweep wide with a jab, toward the hills. Nothing on pace or rendezvous. Custer's plan, unspoken, hinges on Reno pinning the Lakota. He'll barrel down the bluffs, or arc north. Once chaos erupts, Bentini mutters later. He wanted me out, damn glory. Hog wrong? His flanks, no snub. It's a cork for southwest runners. But the Crow Scout shout lingers as they scatter. Too many, even united. Don't split Custer's, barked. I fight you, Scout, buries it. 660 diced 4 ways. Can't cage 2,000 warriors bristling for blood. He's misreading the beast ahead. Scouts pegged it from the Crow's Nest, a tremendous village, 1,000 teepees sprawl to miles. 18 to 2,000 fighters thick among 7,000 souls. At 2:30, a translator spots 50 warriors. Kicking dust near the creek. Shouts rip out. They're running like devils. Custer's grin flashes, he sees flight. Not fight off base. Rosebud's echo pumps through the camp. Crazy Horse's win over Crook has them coiled. Not cowed out, manning him 4-1. Charlie Reynolds' Lonesome Charlie had eyed it earlier. Quiet, biggest bunch I've seen. Custer's scoff will cut through. Misses the math shock, won't crack this wall. The rift tears open quick. By 2:30 Reno's 175 thunder toward the ford. Horses splash across Rain's whip. Rifles swing loose as troopers shed coats in the heat. Reno gulps from his flask, voice slurring faster. Get in there, no sight of Custer's plume on the bluffs. Bentine's 115 slog through a gulch. Horses stumble on scree. Men curse as thorns snag trousers. Miles west, and drifting Custer crest, the ridge, glassing the plain 220 fan out, Rain's taut sweat-streaking faces under straw hats. He points north barking. Hold steady, wait for it. The pack trains a wreck mules, lock hoofs a mile back. McDougal kicks a crate upright, shouting, tie it down a half mile. Splits them, Reno's dust fades from Custer's view. Bentine's hoofbeats die in the wind. No runner bridges the gap. No trumpeter's call cuts the haze. Reno's 175 hit the village's edge solo. Bentine's 115 pokey blind too far to pivot. Custer's 220 perch, ammo thin. Strike unloosed, this is a snare snapping apart. Custer's web's got gaps, split units don't snare without a thread. Renault's charging 175 slam into thousands. No lifeline to the bluffs. Bentine's 115 crawl southwest. Minutes from useless. The pack train's ammo sits a mile off. Mules mired Custer's high ground's a perch. Not a hammer. 220 can't vault ravines to stitch this mess. The Crow Scout's warning was cold fact, division's a death knell against these odds. Washita's dawn raid worked with surprise and wait. This midday carve-ups got neither. Little Bighorn's tallying the butcher's bill fast. It's 3 p.m. on June 25th and Major Marcus Reno's 175 men hit. The Little Bighorn's forward full tilt. Horses splash across, hoofs pounding through the shallows, water spraying as they turn toward the village. Reno swaying in the saddle. Yanks his reins hard, straw hat flapping and roars. Charge at the village. His voice slurs whiskey, thick on his breath from the flask jostling at his hip. The line surges, horses snort, carbines slap against leather. Reins snap as troopers lean low. Half are greenhorns never drilled in combat. Some clutch rifles like lifelines, others fumble them wide-eyed. They thunder across the open grassland, dust boiling up. Aiming for the Hunk Papa, end of the camp, sitting Bulls people 600 yards out. Teepees looming in a tight, sprawling mass at 300 yards. Reno's nerve cracks, the village isn't scattering. Warriors dart between teepees. Numbers swelling, not dozens, but hundreds halt. Slow stop, he shouts, arm jerking up. Flask flashing as he nearly drops it. Horses skid-rearing. Men curse, crashing into each other. A private tumbling from his saddle into the trees. Dismount now, Reno barks, pointing to the cottonwood fringe along the river. 95 troopers swing down boots, slamming dirt. Dragging mounts into the timber. They scramble into a skirmish line, rifles outstretching across the grass river. Shielding their right flank, left wide open fire. Fire, Reno yells. Staggering along the line, carbines, crack, smoke, sputters. Bullets zip toward the village, wild and high a trooper grins. Duck shoot. But most shots smack TP poles or bury in dirt. Ammo crates stranded miles back with a pack train. The line's shaky. 30% of these men have never fired a carbine before today. Triggers Jerk barrels, wobble. Bullets spray uselessly. Reno paces flask to lips. Slurring hold. Shoot straight, damn it. A private reloads, hands trembling. Spills half his rounds, another jams his breech, swearing. The village, a runk papa cries, shout cuts through. They're coming, they're coming. Women shriek, dragging kids behind teepees. Poles shatter under stray lead. Goals, to wives and 3 children, crumble in the first volley. Blood soaking, the grass warriors bolt upright. Lancers grab paint jars, smash open. Feathers tie fast, 500, charge out. Estimates later claim horses pounding. War cries splitting the air. Arrows whistle in thwacking trees. Bullets snap back, Reno's men hold, repulsing the wave. A trooper takes an arrow through the arm. Grunts keeps firing, got one. He yells, swigging a canteen. 10 minutes in, the tide shifts. Warriors regroup, hundreds more flood from the camp. Hooves shaking the ground. Crazy Horse emerges. Slow lightning streaks daubed on his face. Hair loose mounting his pony as chants rise. Crazy Horse is coming, Reno's line buckles. Arrows pepper the timber, a trooper drops. Clutching his thigh too damn many, Reno flask slipping as he gulps again into the woods. Pull back, he shouts, voice ragged, the retreats a tangle. Men trip over roots, horses rear, carbines clatter as they pile into the cottonwoods. 95 cram in, reloading fast, still, cocky, only 1 wounded so far. We're good, hold 'em here, a sergeant calls, snapping a fresh round in. 20 minutes later, the timbers, a kill zone. Arrows, rain, thunk thunk, shafts bury in trunks, warriors crawl forward. Torching grass smoke coils thick. Stinging eyes, bullets, zing, bark explodes, a private shoulder blooms red. He screams, dropping his rifle. Ironhawk's band breaches the edge. War cries erupt, rifles blaze point blank. Bloody knife ducks beside Reno, tracking a shadow crack, a slug slams his skull. Brain and blood blasting across Reno's face. The major reels, clawing at his eyes. Blinded, gagging. His straw hat tumbles off. Run. Run for your lives, he screams. Voice shredded, every man for himself. A trooper hollers, panic explodes. Men bolt, rifles hit the dirt. Boots pound, some mount. Some sprint, crashing through brush. A private trips, an arrow skewers his back. He's down, shrieking, as warriors close in. The dash to the river's bedlam, horses plunge into the ford. Water froths, red riders topple, as arrows slam ribs. A trooper's horse bolts, dumping him. His arm snaps under a hoof. He's dragged under the far banks, an 8-foot clay bluff. Horses slip, men claw up. Boots sinking in slick muck. A choke point bottlenecks the climb. Hunk papa marksmen perch atop, feathers glinting. Picking targets, a sergeant's head cracks open. Tumbling back, another's chest caves under a bullet. Slumping midstream, black elk 13 trails. The warrior spots a wounded trooper, writhing. Scalp him, boy, a rider yells, black elk leaps off. Knife, flashing saws at hair, the man grinds his teeth, moaning. Black elk jams his pistol to the skull, fires. Finishes the cut. Another soldier ducks into mulberry bushes. Boys chase arrows, peppering like hunting rabbits. Black elk laughs, he yelps, wow. As an arrow hits, they torch the grass. He staggers out, riddled fast across the river. 80 straggle up, half of Reno's 175 gone, piling onto a hill, later named for him. Men collapse, rifles clatter, some reload, hands shaking, others sob, clutching bloodied arms. Second Lieutenant Luther hair jams, a flagpole in the dirt. Barking die, like men not whipped. Kerr's Reno staggers atop, red bandana. Dripping eyes, wild froth beads his lips. A madman from Apocalypse Now, where's Custer? Where's Bentini? He slurs, spinning flask, empty below. Screams echo, wounded litter, the bank. Scalped alive, a corporal pleads. They're dying down there, let's go. Reno whirls, snarling. You want him? Get him yourself. Sergeant White recoils. That broke us worse than the fight. He'd write. Later, warriors swarmed the fallen. Tahunk Papa girls saw off bloody knives, head braids, swinging, giggling to their mother, his sister who freezes, recognizing the ornaments. The roots, relentless Renos. Men carbines, low ammo. A memory pack train miles off. Warriors circle below, arrows arc up. A trooper clutches his throat, gurgling. A private fires, blind bolt jamming. We're done, he yells, hurling it down. Reno's orders falter. Hold. Hold, where's the damn line? Voice lost in the wind, the hills a trap open. Pinned, no cover. 50 warriors peel off, probing the flank. Hoofs rumble, dust rises. A trooper bolts downhill. Panic driving him, lanced in seconds. Body dragged back, hair snaps. Rounds off, shouting, stand. Damn, you stand, but the fight's bled out. 80 clutched dirt, watching comrades carved below Reno's collapse, sealing their corner of this disaster. Little bighorns grinding on, unforgiving. It's 3:40 p.m. on June 25th. And George Armstrong Custer commands the bluffs above the Little Bighorn. His 200,220 men spread along the ridge, their horses pawing nervously at the shale, while carbines clank against saddles, reins pulled taut as troopers settle into position. Below them, the village sprawls across the greasy grass. 2 miles of teepees,